I think she thinks I'm hot. I got nice pecs and a great six-pack abs.
Hello and welcome. Today we are talking about Sister Wives Season 18, Episode 6. This episode starts out with the wives talking about Valentine's Day, and basically they all agree it's just not a polygamy-friendly holiday. Janelle says she is not going to be doing anything. Robin, of course, we know who she is spending Valentine's Day with, but Meri says this.
You have to have a Valentine to do Valentine's Day.
So just another holiday where Meri is going to be alone, knowing that Kody and Robin are going to be spending it together. You know, it's just like we keep seeing over and over Meri doing her own thing, living the single life, but still saying that she is married, even though clearly they're not living, acting, nothing like a married couple. It's just not happening. But another holiday where she's alone. I'm going to be excited for Meri when she finally can go out and date and do her own thing. But after this, we see Christine talking about Valentine's Day and what it was like with Kody. She talks about how he would bring them flowers and just give the flowers to them in front of each other. So they really couldn't do anything that was really special and intimate because he had to share the day with all of the wives. Here's what she added in about what Valentine's Day will be like for Kody now.
Now he just has Robin, so he's probably fine. Oh, that was snarky. That was rude.
Christine is getting sassy, snarky, and it's sort of like she's came over to the dark side, and I like it. And when I say coming over to the dark side, what I really mean is she's starting to be more honest, and she's still doing it in a way that isn't mean or bitter. I think she's just saying what we all already know. He wants to be with Robin, and now he's finally with her. So you know what? She's making these little jabs every now and then, but I still think they're very lighthearted. It could be much more bitter and angry than it is. Christine's kids want to know if she's ready to date yet, and she says that she is. She's even met with a matchmaker and told the matchmaker everything about their family, that they were polygamist in the public, and that she still has a big family, even though she left Kody. So the matchmaker knows all of this stuff, but truly isn't really ready for her to date yet, so she's not rushing into it. Now, Christine, even though she's excited, she also says that the prospect of dating is terrifying. You have to think about it, though, being in her position. The only person that she was ever intimate with was Kody, and then he goes, in public and is open about the fact that he wasn't physically attracted to her, and then he doesn't want to have any sort of intimacy with her. That's going to make anyone feel really insecure. So this is something that she's worried about. She doesn't know, what it'll be like when she's with someone else. I want to put in a clip here of Christine talking about, how Kody felt about her and what motivated her to finally leave him.
I didn't want to be in a marriage where my kids would know that I was married to someone who wasn't attracted to me.
We all know the Nacho story that was put in the book years and years ago, and I just found the whole thing to be rather humiliating. He did not need to share that with anyone. Kody could have kept that whole thing to himself for his children. He did not need to say that publicly, yet he chose to. And I always wondered how the kids felt about that, having their dad say something that would embarrass their mom like that. And I think Christine was clearly thinking about it as well. What would it be like if she stayed? What would that show them when it came to relationships? So I just liked that she kind of threw that in there. It was something that was on her mind. There was also a part where Christine talks about the type of guy that she wants. And she says she wants someone that's bald with tattoos and rides a motorcycle. And I couldn't help but think this is like the opposite of Kody. She actually says that too. She's like, it's not intentional, but it's the opposite of Kody. And I'm like, yes, a bald man is in fact the opposite of Kody because his hair is like its own person. Like, to people that have watched the show, his hair has had a life of its own. So I just thought it was funny that she wants a bald guy. She's just going for the opposite. There's also a part of this where Tony's like, you never know what you're going to like if you don't try all the flavors. And I thought that was funny. Christine says that Tony has a way of bringing up things that are sort of uncomfortable. But you know what? I appreciate that Tony is there. And I know that Tony isn't always someone that's easy to like. Sometimes he says things that can be very off-putting, but I think he might help Christine realize, like, hey, it's okay to date. Hey, it's okay to do things that maybe to her in the past might have not been acceptable. Like, he's just going to come out and say it. But here is Christine's response to the idea of sampling all of the flavors.
No, I will not be sampling all the ice cream flavors. No.
I say go for it. Sample the flavors. It's been a while since you've had some ice cream and you deserve some dessert. So go for it, Christine. I was just thankful Tony was there to sort of bring up the idea that maybe she should date around, because I think that most people would agree that she should. She just hasn't had the opportunity to date many people. She sort of jumped right to Kody, right? So this would be good for her. I think dating is going to be good for her if she meets the right people. We know who she ends up with because of social media, but I do think it's going to be nice to sort of see what happens or hear about it from her if they don't show it on the show. We see the Valentine canvas party end, and then we go over to Janelle just briefly, where she says things are not working with Kody, and that, you know, she doesn't want to throw away her marriage, but if she's not going to be treated differently, this isn't working for her. Now, I normally don't put in clips like this, the one I'm about to put in, because it really she doesn't say a lot, but I just felt the whole interaction was really odd, and I want to know what you guys think, but go ahead and watch the clip first.
I'm gonna go over and talk to Kody, so this is the first time.
I cut her off there talking because it goes on a little bit too long for me to put in here for copyright reasons, but she goes on to say it's the first time that they've talked since their fight. But did you guys notice, like, she seemed nervous there? And I try not to guess that's what it is. I mean, maybe she wasn't feeling well, or maybe she was really tired, but it just caught me off guard because I'm not used to seeing Janelle like that on the show, just the way she was talking. There's also a clip where she says, I have an appointment with Kody. I just thought it was really odd. Who calls a dinner date or something an appointment? Does she have to like schedule appointments with Kody? I mean, I guess she probably does, right? She has to call and get him to agree to come meet her somewhere, but the whole thing just felt really odd. The scene with Janelle is short, and we quickly switch over to seeing Meri driving up to the B&B. She gets there, and Jen is there, of course. Jen is her friend that runs the B&B. They talk a little bit about the history of their friendship. We find out that Jen and Meri became friends when Jen owned a pest control business in Vegas and Meri hired her. Jen ended up doing all of the houses there in Vegas, and they just became good friends, and they've maintained a friendship through everything. Meri says they were friends when she had a legal divorce from Kody so that, he could marry Robin. Jen was her friend during the catfish thing. Jen is her friend now. So this is a friendship that has been there through all of the issues with Kody. I really like them together. They do Instagram lives, or they used to do them, fairly often. I haven't seen any in a while just because I haven't watched them, but I think it's great that Meri has a close friendship, because let's get real, she doesn't have a lot of people in the family that's close to her. So it's good she has someone in her life that can support her. There is a part where, Meri's talking about making this change of moving her business from Flagstaff to Utah. She wants her clothing business to be there so she can spend more time at the B&B. She's not nervous about telling Kody about it. She's nervous about telling Robin because she thinks it's going to upset Robin and not Kody. However, she does worry that Kody will think this is her finally leaving their marriage. And she still wants this marriage to work. Meri actually says she still wishes they had a healthy marriage. It sort of blows my mind because it's been so many years and he's been so vocal about not wanting to be with her. I find it really shocking that she's still holding on to hope that it's going to work out. But she is. I'm going to put in a clip here of her talking about what she thinks Kody is going to think so that you can actually hear it.
Going to interpret that as that I am done with this relationship. And that's not where I am.
So you heard it there. Meri is worried that Kody will think she's giving up on the relationship, even though he has gave up so long ago. I think she's worried he's going to feel relieved. Like he's going to feel relieved that she's finally going, and she is not going to let him have that. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's some sort of weird reverse punishment sort of thing. I don't know. She's just really holding on. But we also, during this time, like during this part of the show, we hear her and Jen talk about them moving the business into the carriage house that's next to the B&B. And we see a really sweet part where one of the guests had left a pillow that had a picture of Meri and her mother on it. And I'll put a photo up here if you guys want to see it. But it was just really sweet gift from one of the guests that had stayed there. But otherwise, that is it. And we switch over to Janelle and Kody. Okay, guys, this dinner lunch appointment that they had together, there was just so much to unpack. There's no way I'm going to get it all in here. I can't show all the clips that I want to show, or I'm going to get in trouble. So I'm going to just do the best I can. I'm sure I'm missing things. I'm 100% positive I am. So go ahead and you can put stuff in the comments, point out things that I might have missed that you felt were big. I completely understand. I'm going to do the best I can. They end up getting together, I'm assuming for lunch, and then it's really weird. Did you guys pick up on how, when Kody approached Janelle, he was super happy. He was acting like it was some sort of reunion, give me a hug, and she did. They hugged, but it just felt like what he was expecting and what was coming wasn't the same thing. He seemed very happy to see her, which was nice, but I think it was because he was trying to minimize what had happened in their previous fight. It did seem like Kody came ready to apologize. It wasn't a situation where he was combative. He came ready to say, it wasn't safe for you to talk to me. I'm very angry right now. I'm easily triggered. He said a lot of things that were on the right path, but then he would just start filling it all up with excuses. If he had just ended there, it probably would have went in a different direction, but then he would throw in Christine over and over and over again. He said he was angry because of Christine. He was upset because he didn't know that she was leaving before she left, that Christine just walked away and he didn't understand what happened. Throughout this whole thing, he was bringing up Christine, and he really just needed to listen to Janelle and talk about Janelle. Really, Christine had nothing to do with what was going on between them, but he is blaming all of his anger on her. Janelle had no problem during a confessional calling him out when it came to that.
Well, be a man, separate your relationships like you have for our entire plural marriage, and pay attention here.
So that is Janelle just calling him out for using Christine and the divorce as an excuse for his anger and an excuse for not focusing on her and her children. She's right. He always made a huge deal out of, I have to separate things. I have to compartmentalize things to make this work. I can't be mad at one wife and then go to another wife and be angry. He said that during the show, but here he is not able to do it at all. And it was just an excuse over and over. Every time he said something that might have been okay, he added something about Christine. So Janelle is not falling for his excuses. They're not good enough for her, and she is not wanting to get back together with Kody. She's just not wanting the relationship to stay the way it was. So she tells him that she wants to separate from him. I'm going to put in the clip of her saying that to him, and I want you to watch him respond to it. It's clear he was really surprised by this.
I do think I want to stay separated for now.
Really, you want to stay separated?
Yeah, I do.
I think Kody thought time had passed. He walked into this appointment ready to sit down and, be calm and try to apologize. He expected her to say she was okay and wanted to work things back out, and then she didn't. And I do think he was genuinely surprised. The way he walked up to that, wanting a hug and smiling, it felt like to me he thought things were somewhat better than they were before and that he was on the right path to working things out with Janelle. I'm really glad she has, she's standing her ground. She knows that him just making up excuses isn't good enough, and his excuses don't even really relate to what problems they're having in their relationship. Janelle goes on to say that she's still willing to work on the relationship. She would like to have a third party involved. She wants a counselor so that they can really talk about things, because Kody struggles to see things from anyone else's perspective, which we know is true. There is a part where he brings up how, Christine left and he didn't know it was coming. And then during a confessional, Janelle says what she would do if she had been in Christine's spot. And I wanted to throw it in here because it's another example of I think Christine and Janelle are both becoming more honest as the show goes on this season, but I'll go ahead and throw in the clip so you can hear it.
He's been telling me for years that he wasn't attracted to Christine. They were struggling in their marriage. I would have left his ass the first time he said that to me. I would have.
So from my perspective, Janelle is the last wife who may be able to get through to Kody because Robin is not going to say anything to Kody like this. Meri, I don't know anymore. I feel like Meri is not as loyal to Kody as she used to be. And she has even pointed out that Kody might be wrong about things. But I don't know what would happen if she got really desperate and thought that he would take her back. She might change her tune and go back to being 100% behind Kody. Janelle is the last hope for getting through to Kody. That's all we've got, guys. Otherwise, Kody is just going to be surrounded by people who feed his ego all the time. But there's still one part of this that feeds his ego. He's talking about what Janelle likes about him, and he says, Janelle isn't in love with me anymore. She's just attracted to me. So I'm going to put this clip in so you guys can hear it. I'm sure that if you watch this moment really stood out to you guys. It did me.
I think she thinks I'm hot. I got nice pecs and a great six-pack abs, but that's all she's interested in.
Do I think that Kody Brown is attractive? No, but I would find it incredibly difficult to find him attractive because I couldn't get past his personality. You know, there was a time years and years ago when the show was kind of early on, Kody wasn't a bad looking guy, but he was also happy and didn't seem terrible. As it's went on and he's gotten angrier, I think like his physical appearance also has been affected by that. I don't know, his personality. But it's possible Janelle is attracted to him. Maybe that's the only reason she's hanging on. She says she has affection for him. You know, I take it to be that that's the father of her children. They've spent years and years together. Maybe she does think he's handsome, but I don't think she's hanging on for his pecs and abs. As they continued talking, Janelle points out that none of their relationship issues have to do with Christine or COVID. It really has to do with his relationship with her and the kids. She tells him, you know, I didn't spend Christmas with Christine. I spent it with my children. And then she points out, you know, you didn't even contact Savannah. I will tell you, I think Kody looked really sad. I think he's sort of realizing what he's done. And I think he's disappointed in himself, but the problem is he may feel disappointed in himself, but he still doesn't get it. He basically turns it around and blames it on the mothers.
You know, they separate me from the environment that I know my children in.
He's referencing that Christine and Janelle kicked him out of their homes and he doesn't have a place to go and be with the kids. I think that is absolutely the most ridiculous excuse ever. Kody is not the first man to be a father and not live in the home with his kids. A good dad still finds a way to make it work, and I don't understand why he can't have the kids over to Robin's house. I really wish he realized how ridiculous it sounds to the rest of the world. He's not helping himself out using this as an excuse. The meeting between Janelle and Kody is briefly broken up on the show because they show us Meri back at the B&B. She's there with Jen and they're cleaning out the carriage house. She talks about how she has bigger dreams for the property and would like to actually add a commercial kitchen so catering could be done there. And it's during this time they bring up businesses that the Brown family has tried to have, and they show each one of the sister wives talking about it. And basically it's one of those things where like there's too many cooks in the kitchen because, you know, they all had to agree on things when they were trying to run a business as a team. Meri points out it just didn't go well because there was never a time where one person was in charge. And she brings up Sister Wives Closet and how really Robin should have just been in charge of that. It was something Robin really wanted. But then they show Robin talking and she says she wanted this business to be something they did together, similar to like how they raised the kids together. And she actually says that. She references that they all raised their kids together. This would be something new that they could all do together where she would be included. Unfortunately, that's just not how that works. You don't just go start a business and bond with people the way you would bond with them if you were having children and raising them all together. That's just not the same thing. Maybe she did want that. I don't know. That's not what I thought when I watched the show back then and we watched Sister Wives Closet start. I didn't think I don't know what I thought. I just thought it was a bad business idea. But that's what Robin says. That part is really short. And then we go back to seeing Kody and Janelle sitting together talking some more. Back at the restaurant, Janelle is towing the line. She tells Kody that she feels like he always wants to be at Robin's house. This is something that agitates him, but he is really trying to practice self-control. He doesn't raise his voice or, start yelling or pointing or anything. He listens, but it's clear he doesn't like what he's hearing. He says there was a point he was always at her house. And it's weird because while they're there and they're talking, he brings up Vegas a lot. Everything was good in Vegas. We were getting along in Vegas. He says something about sprouting poetry and having a renaissance with her. Of course, that's how Kody talks about it. But what he's really trying to say was things were great there. I don't understand. But as Janelle points out during one of the confessionals, it doesn't matter what it was like in Vegas. We're talking about right now. Having a good time in the past does not mean things are going well today. But Kody just gets hung up on the fact that at one time something was working out and now it's not. There is a part of this where Janelle brings up something that I bring up a lot here on this channel, and I know from the comments a lot of viewers feel the same way I do. And in this episode, Robin even brings it up. Because they didn't have kids at the same time, there was just a lot of things that got messed up. Robin couldn't bond with 3 women that had raised kids together when she came along and had kids so much later. Now you've got Meri, who's an empty nester, Janelle, who's on the verge of being an empty nester, and Kody's not going to experience that new phase of life with them because he has small kids with Robin. There's just so much about Robin coming along and having children later that changed their relationships. But she brings it up here. And I'm not surprised by Kody's response, but I'm going to go ahead and put in the clip so you can hear it.
But I think we all had children at different stages, and it was you couldn't accommodate.
Well, I feel the obligation a little deeper to the littlest ones. But
Kody goes on to defend himself and say that he did this with all of the children. He says that every time there were younger kids and older kids, he gave more of his attention to the younger kids. And to me, that is just another example of why a lifestyle where there's this many kids doesn't work. Because let me tell you what, kids need you just as much when they're older, when they're teenagers, as they do when they're younger. Their needs are more basic when they're smaller, typically. But the things that they need you for when they're older get more complex. They're more about sitting down and listening when your kids want to talk. And Kody just seems to check out and go to whoever has the youngest kids, which was Robin in this situation. So he defends himself by saying he's done that with every kid. So basically, whenever a new kid is born, an older kid gets the boot when it comes to getting Kody's attention. Of course, Kody references the fact that he feels like there's gaslighting and manipulation and lying. Though again, I will say he practiced self-control, and he talks about it during this episode. He is trying to understand what his triggers are and make sure that he doesn't ever get angry like that again, which is good. Because you know what? Kody doesn't always realize the stuff he does wrong, but he does realize that his anger when he was fighting with Janelle was out of hand, and he is trying to control that. So I'm going to give Kody a little bit of credit, but I want to be clear about something. He does not understand what the problems are with Janelle at all. When she's trying to point things out to him, he just doesn't get it. And as an example of that, I just want to point out that there is a part of this where she tells him toward the end of their lunch that she still wants to remain separated. She's not going to reconcile and pretend things are better when they're not. Then during a confessional, Kody says that she doesn't want to reconcile because she's liking the independent life. No, Kody, she doesn't want to be in an unhealthy, unhappy relationship with you. She wishes it was healthy and happy, but she's not going to be in one that's not good for her and not working for her. She's not leaving because she wants to be independent, but Kody really doesn't get it. The dude just cannot figure things out. I wish he had to watch the show himself. I think it would help him. There is a part of this where Janelle brings up the financial situation that she is in, and she tells Kody after the fight she realized she had nothing. She has no assets. And Kody responds by saying it's not his fault that they're not building out on the property. But what's really interesting is what happens when they're separated for confessionals. Janelle says that Kody moved heaven to get Robin into that house. Kody did everything to get her there, but then, he's not doing everything to make sure she's okay. But then there's this part that I found funny, and that is when Kody talks about how it's just a money thing for Janelle. I'm going to throw the clip in here.
If I can't provide everything, I'm not of value?
Oh, I know.
So Kody's saying that this is all just about money, and now that he can't provide everything, he's not of value to Janelle. I just thought that was funny. We all know that Janelle was one of the breadwinners in the family. And honestly, the only thing I could see her needing to latch onto Kody for was because she does have money invested in that property. And because honestly, let's get real, they're on this show. There's a reason you might want to stay on the show, and you might want Sister Wives to keep going if they're depending on that financially. Though I do think at this point we're seeing Christine leave. I think there's still a show for several more seasons, even if Janelle leaves. But to think that Kody believes people would stay with him for money is hilarious to me. This is a dude who has been involved with bankruptcy and financial issues for years. Janelle does not need to stay with him unless she wants to get what she deserves before she goes. There's one more thing I want to talk about. I'm almost done. I feel like this is such a long video, and I still feel like I'm leaving things out. But Kody talks about plural monogamy. Now, I've never said plural monogamy before, but I have talked about on this channel how I don't feel like they're polygamist anymore, and I feel like they started to leave polygamy in Vegas when they were living separate, though I do think it was nice that they were all close together and still in each other's lives, and the kids could see each other a lot, but it started to break then. And then here in Flagstaff, it's just Kody being a husband to multiple women, right? So I think Kody is creating the language there, plural monogamy. And Kody says that's what Janelle wants, because Janelle doesn't want to reconcile with Meri, and Janelle doesn't want to reconcile with Robin. And you know what? To be honest with you guys, I don't know that she wants a relationship with them either. I think he might be onto something a little bit here. Like, what's Janelle going to look for if she stays with him? What is that going to look like for her? Does she want to... She used to want to live in one house, though, even when no one else really wanted to do it. She wanted to be in a house that included Meri and Robin and Christine back a while ago. Would she ever want that again, or is she just wanting them all to be on the property together and sort of coexist in the same place? Because Kody's saying she's not wanting polygamy either. And I'm kind of like, it feels that way. And before you guys say I'm bashing Janelle, that is not true. I like Janelle. But I don't know that this family can go back to polygamy the way it was before for them. I think they might be plural monogamist. So Kody's giving it a title. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I'm going to talk about. Man, there was just so much that you could have broke down with them talking to each other. I do think it's funny that Kody thinks that she's with him for his looks and for his money. That's hilarious. The show ends there. She still wants to be separated. Oh, but there's one more thing. Okay, before Kody goes, he starts sort of laying it on really thick. He's trying to be flirtatious. I will put in a little clip of it here.
No.
You didn't think that I missed you?
Well, no, because...
You didn't think I want to kiss you on the lips and see you again?
I think this is the part of Kody that all these women like, when he is being a little bit flirtatious and he's smiling. But let's get real. I don't think he's a changed man. I think that's Kody of the past. And I think Christine would have not fell for this even if he tried at the end. And I think Janelle, even though she's enjoying it and laughing, she knows better. He's still going to go spend all his time at Robin's. So that's where this show ends. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments. I always enjoy reading them. If you've made it this far and you've watched the whole video, thank you. I know it was a long one. Sometimes when my videos get longer, I think, oh, I need to cut it short. But this one just had so much in it. But let me know what you guys thought of the show in the comments. Was there anything I left out that was really big and important? Were you guys grossed out by Kody talking about kissing? Yeah, let me know what you thought. If you haven't already and you would like to, go ahead and click like and subscribe.